I guess they're trying to sue over Tylenol now, which, to be honest, I'm surprised this hasn't happened already. I thought Tylenol was going to sue the Trump administration. I really thought somebody was just going to sue somebody, because this is a heck of an allegation. Either it really is causing kids to be autistic, or it's not and they flat out lied. But somebody's got to sue somebody, or else, what are we talking about here? Because is it true or is it not? And now I think it's a Texas attorney general who's now suing Tylenol. So that lends credence to what Trump and RFK were saying about this. Obviously, we don't know if this is going to hold water or not, so we'll see what happens. But at the same time, that's crazy. And basically, they're alleging they deceptively marketed the over-the-counter medication Tylenol to pregnant women. They marketed it to pregnant women, despite alleged links to autism and other disorders. So we're not even just talking about autism. Apparently, they're making the claim for other disorders, whatever that means. And so the claim is that Big Pharma betrayed America by profiting off of pain and pushing pills regardless of the risks. These corporations lied for decades, knowingly endangering millions to line their pockets. Directly after that announcement happened, it felt like people were coming out of the woodworks to discredit it. And I don't know if these people know what they're talking about or not. I've never been pregnant. I've never used Tylenol while pregnant. So it's not my personal problem. But I did see that after that announcement was made, a bunch of people hopped online and were just taking it in spite of Trump and in spite of RFK. And I was like, man, you probably shouldn't just be taking it. It's specifically for a need basis. You know what I mean? I need to take this because my fever is getting so high that it's going to be detrimental to my baby. Not just I'm a pop a Tylenol because I got the bottle in the cupboard and I hate you guys. Like, that's not really what that was for. But it's really hard to find out what these effects would be on kids, because you can't really just give pregnant women Tylenol just to see what would happen. You know what I mean? Like, how is that? Because if the child comes out autistic, then it's like, oops. So unknowingly, all these people who just popped these pills for no reason after that announcement came out, technically, somebody should be reaching out to them to say, hey, can we just see what happens to your child since you took it upon yourself to just pop some pills for no reason? Can we at least see what happens to them? Because otherwise, how do we find out as a society? So some people still discredit this whole thing. Some people still say that the science indicates that Tylenol is the safest option. Some people feel like this lawsuit against Tylenol should just be thrown out because they say the case is weak. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out. In the meantime, Trump basically said, tough it out to all women. You know what I mean? Just deal with it, basically. And people were rubbed the wrong way. And I get it. Like, a man would be up there saying, just tough it out. It's not that bad because they don't have to deal with it. But he makes a good point. Like, if you can tough it out, you might just want to tough it out for the sake of your kid. You know what I mean? But at the same time, take it. Take the Tylenol. Don't take the Tylenol. I personally don't care. I do think that's interesting, though. Tylenol posted many years ago that pregnant women should not take Tylenol. I think I saw that tweet. And then they tried to say, well, that's not what we meant. But that's what was written in the tweet. So, who knows? Personally, I wouldn't take it if I, didn't absolutely have to. But, people can still take Tylenol if they feel like that's what you need to take. The cartels, the drug cartels in really South America at this point, started with Venezuela, has moved on to Colombia. I've told you guys that they've moved warships to Trinidad and Tobago, which is closer to Venezuela. And I don't know what these people plan to do. It seems like they are heading for war. They claim they don't need to, and I say they. I mean, the Trump administration claims they don't need to declare war, that they feel like they can just keep killing people. That was a verbatim quote from Trump. We're not going to declare war. We're just going to kill him.
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay.
I don't know. Some generals, that's why I was saying I just saw them repeat it on the news. They kind of clipped and chopped it up, so it's kind of annoying. But when I heard that general just talking flat out, it was a retired general who was talking. He was basically saying all the orders that come down, they have to weigh whether or not those orders are constitutional.
In the military, we took an oath to the Constitution in the United States, and if there was an order we didn't think was either lawful or moral, then we could decide to step aside. I do firmly believe that in the tradition of our military and the Constitution and in our country, what we stand for, that if we were going to put a land force in there and invade a country, we need to have deliberations.
And so there is a chance that generals flat out do not comply with what the Trump administration wants to do. And that would be strange. Like, I don't know what would happen at that point if there's a stalemate in that case. And I think that's what going to Congress helps. Like, if they really want to keep doing this, and again, if they're really thinking about land strikes in Venezuela, we're talking about war here. So you have to go if you're going to declare war. Like, you can't just say it's not war, we're just killing people. That is war. I mean, that's technically war. So I don't know what these people plan to do, but I would be interested to see, because Trump did tell Pete Hegseth to go to Congress. So going to Congress would be to say, and he said not to ask for a declaration of war, just to tell people, our lawmakers, what was going on. And, you know, by effect, us. I'm assuming they're going to do that in a public meeting. Hopefully that wouldn't be classified. Hopefully they could, you know, keep this, you know, not behind closed doors, but because I'm personally interested. Like, what is the evidence that all we've heard again for all these weeks is just, believe me, bro, they have drugs on the boat. They have fentanyl on the boat. There are drug dealers on the boat. Colombia said, hey, those were farmers. U.S. said, no, it's not. Y'all are drug dealing too. So I'm just trying to figure out, what do you know that we don't know right now? because this is like, it's insane. I swear to you, I was trying to find a trip to take overseas, like in South America recently. And I legitimately did not want to go because I didn't know if they were blaming all Americans. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I don't want smoke. I just live here. The Mexican cartels are threatening American tourists. God dang, of course they would. I'm wondering if this moves to Mexico, but it would make sense because fentanyl does come from Mexico. And I would think they would have started in Mexico simply because it's right there. But now that I see how far they're willing to go, because originally when this whole effort was announced, they hadn't done anything yet. You know, it was, oh, we're going to have a war on drugs. And it's like, okay, you know, governments say that all the time. That means nothing. And then like a couple weeks later, you have boats blown out of the water. You know what I mean? So they really meant they were about that life and they were really about to start like killing people. I didn't know that at the time. Nobody could have known that at the time. But when it was announced at first that they were going to have this war on drugs and try to stop the drug flow into the country, Mexico's leader basically said, you know, we'll cooperate with you guys, but you're not just going to have a land invasion here. There's going to be no troops on the ground here in Mexico over my dead body. She didn't say that, but basically that was the vibe. And we never sent troops into Mexico, obviously. And the effort ended up being focused in the Caribbean, which, as I've said before, I don't know why they started in the Caribbean if it were really about the drug trade, but it did end up moving to the Pacific, where the Pacific Ocean has a lot of drug routes. And so they've been just kind of blasting all over the place. And some people think it's great. Some people think it's a crime. I think Trump is just banking on people saying, well, we're killing drug dealers and drug dealers are bad. Because I remember when I first did the video, people were saying, and I was just doing a video. It wasn't even like I was picking a side. They were saying, why is everybody defending drug dealers? And it's like, nobody's defending the drug dealers. They're trying to make sure that things are happening legally, like our country's still proceeding on the way that our country's supposed to proceed on, and nothing, you know, is happening against the Constitution or whatnot. So, you know, I don't know. It's, people have their opinions both ways. Again, like, I don't know what these people are after. If food stamps is just one part of that. And you made a great point. People are already robbing people right now with food stamps. You take that one little resource away, whether or not you think they should have it, they are using it. They are relying on it in some cases. So what are these kids going to start doing? What are these teens and these young adults going to start doing? But not just that, like, if this government shutdown extends for much longer, the people who are air traffic controllers and all these different federal workers who aren't getting paid, what are they going to do? I mean, it's putting people in a position where quite literally everybody would think potentially about stealing, in which case you could potentially think about putting in the National Guard, or, you know, basically establishing a police state to stop the crime that would inevitably happen when you're telling people you're not going to get any money for the work you're doing. You're not going to be able to pay your mortgage. You're not going to be able to pay your car note. You're not going to be able to pay your credit card off. What are you, where do they see this ending? That's why it's like, you know, we can blame either side all we want, but the fact that neither side has the foresight to see where this could go, or I believe they do have the foresight to see where this could go. The fact that they're still allowing it to go this far, no, you and I aren't just geniuses. You and I aren't lawmakers. If we can figure this shit out, pardon my language, why, what are they doing? So, no, for sure, man. I totally agree. It's crazy. Yeah, we were supposed to be getting checks, $1,000 to $2,000, but I think something is gonna cost like $300 million. What was it? Was it SNAP? Because I don't think they're gonna fund SNAP. Something I saw recently, I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about here. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, dang, we're not getting those refund checks, because now it's got to go to fund whatever is needing funding from the government being shut down. And whether it actually gets funded, you know, or not, I don't know, but we're not seeing a dollar of that. I don't think we're actually getting any money. They didn't save as much as they thought they could save. And I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know what happened, but, you know, Elon Musk was going hard for a couple of months, and then they had that weird falling out. He basically accused Trump of being like a pedo and said that he was in the Epstein files. And then Trump said, okay, I'm giving my Tesla away. F you. He's just mad we're cutting out the EV incentives, which I told him. The whole thing was very strange. And then Elon Musk just kind of like went back into the shadows, and life just kind of continued on. And then later on, they were friends again. The whole thing was very strange. I don't know what actually happened with that. I know Elon Musk was upset about the One Big Beautiful bill, because he was saying, why are you people adding to the deficit? Why are you people having me cut all this stuff just to come up with something that is way more expensive and basically undoing everything I'm doing right now? I think that was part of why he was upset. But Trump said that he was really upset because he was just upset about the electric vehicle incentives getting cut. So it wasn't about the One Big Beautiful bill, because the One Big Beautiful bill was perfect. He was just mad that he was cut out of the One Big Beautiful bill. Elon Musk said that was a lie. He was mad at the One Big Beautiful bill. Argue with your mama type situation. I don't know who was right. You know what I mean? Like, anyway. Well, that's what I was wondering, because it seemed like Trump had already told him weeks, if not months before, that the EV incentives were getting cut. So I don't know that that was a surprise to Elon Musk, but that's what he said he was really upset about. But I thought he already knew. Like, I thought that conversation, you know, had already been had before he started going in and cutting things with Doge. So I really don't know. The whole thing was very weird. Did they investigate and find out exactly, or they just left it at that? On that specifically, Elon Musk and Trump, they basically, no, like I think Elon Musk apologized, basically kind of said he went too far, accusing him of being a pedo. I mean, that's pretty far. Sorry. that's pretty far. I think RFK actually just did an announcement today, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of briefly saw it. And they were saying that the FDA is trying to speed up approvals for generic drugs to lower the cost. So instead of, you know, having, I don't know, Fruit Loops, you get Fruity Holes, you know, when it's cereal. It's like a little off-brand version of it. And I don't know if that's good or bad or not. It's going to be potentially cheaper, which is great, but is it going to be as effective? Like, we all know when you talk about name brand cereals and off-brand generic cereals, the taste is a little different. Like, yes, it's kind of the same thing. Yes, it, you know, it'll fill you up, but it tastes a bit different. So I don't know about these generic drugs, but they are trying. That would literally be the question. What did they take out to make sure it was still as effective, but cheaper? So are you saying that? No, because I think I had seen that Trump had said that he was trying to get them to make the prices here in America more in alignment with what they're doing overseas, because overseas, like, the same exact drug is significantly cheaper. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. We're basically getting robbed here.
Are you implying?
No, I'm not saying snake oil. What I'm saying is where I've heard kind of some differences in the past is like, let's say with the brand name version, I might need to take 4 pills a day. And maybe with the generic version, I need to take 6 because it's maybe not as effective. So maybe I end up going through it faster, or maybe it doesn't really help my condition as fast. So I might need to be on it longer. I don't know. That's where I'm saying you'd have to see, you know, because this would be for people who need it, right? Like if I'm rich, I'm not going for the generic version. So what are you taking out that is specifically for poor people? And is it going to make sure that they need it longer?
Are you thinking that they're trying to trick the like giving us a sugar pill, pretending that they're actually giving us a lower prices or something?
Not sugar pill, not, you know, not just by like it's going to be totally ineffective. Not to that degree, but I think, you know, when it's a generic version, what did you take out that makes it the same amount of effective, but makes it cheaper? Because in theory, then why isn't the brand name version? Why don't you just take whatever that is out of the brand name version and just improve the drug? What would separate it from being the cheaper generic versus the better brand name? Here's why I say this. This is a part of this article that I'm reading. This is a News Nation article. And this is saying the FDA, along with RFK and Dr. Oz, announced that they are going to fast track the approval of biosimilars. And biosimilars is a generic version of complex biological drugs. In the overhaul of the approval process, Kennedy says the agency will start to reduce the number of human clinical studies for these drugs when other advanced testing has already proved the drugs work just as well as the regular drug. So that to me would say it's not just about the name. If this requires potentially extra human clinical studies and advanced testing that would prove it works just as similar, it wouldn't just be the name. That means they're testing something to a degree to make sure it does work as well. So something would have been altered. If it was just the name, they wouldn't have to test it any further because it's just like, oh, it's just the name. You know what I mean? Why'd I make faces when I mentioned Dr. Oz? Do you remember Dr. Oz used to have a show and it was just about like crazy?
Yeah, a show, yeah.
Isn't he a real doctor? I think he's a real doctor. I don't know. I just remember him from his show back in the day where he'd have all types of crazy cases and all types of, I can't even remember. I just remember thinking, Dr. Oz, let me look this up. Is Dr. Oz a real doctor? Apparently other people have wondered this too. He does hold a medical degree from the University of Pennsylvania, allegedly, and has practiced as a physician, and he's also known for promoting alternative medicine and has faced criticism for some of his health advice. And you know what? Some alternative medicine is not, you know, the craziest thing. Sometimes the actual medications in some cases to me are the craziest things. For example, Ozempic. You're going to take a drug that's going to make you lose weight and potentially make you go blind and have all types of like stomach problems. Literally go blind. Like blindness is one of those lawsuits that are floating around right now with Ozempic. But that's science. That's a real medication when really you might be able to alter your diet and, you know, take different vitamins that help you regulate your system, you know, go to the bathroom, instead of just taking a pill to make you lose fat. So, I mean, I don't know. Yes, also, for real on the Ozempic, yes, Ozempic blindness. There's a rare, I think it's called neon. There's this rare side effect that can cause people to go blind in one eye or potentially both. I can't remember what it was, but it's called NAON. It stands for something. I can't remember what it stands for. But people have sued because it's one of like a lot of nasty side effects. They claim that Ozempic didn't tell them about when they decided to go and take the drug. So, you know, you try to lose a little weight and end up blind. I'd be trying to sue somebody too. But anyways, and they say that it's allegedly permanent or at least not reversible. Generally, typically not reversible, which is nuts to think about. But that's science. That's a medication that is legitimate and it's prescribed. So it's like, how can you say one is just totally good when you have cases like that? It's What do you mean he allegedly holds a medical degree? I say allegedly because this is AI. I just Googled it, and the AI search assist is what popped this up, and I have not gone down to actually check to make sure this is true. So I'm saying allegedly he holds a medical degree from the University of Pennsylvania. This is the AI overview. So I have not fact checked the AI overview, which I like to do before I say things. So that's why I say allegedly.